Hi, my name is Miguel from 9A, and today I'm gonna talk about the history and how to cook dedos de quesos in the traditional Colombian way. Okay, dedos de queso, called in English cheese fingers, also called deditos or pequeños in Venezuela, are a common food, traditional common food on Colombia, Peru, and Venezuela. They are like principally a combination um, of flour and butter with eggs, and inside of it a tiny piece of cheese. This cheese is fried, and finally we have like a little nice piece of bread and cheese, fried bread and cheese. Okay, next I want to say that in his history, taking into account Venezuela, there is not information of why they being called taqueños, but the information um, I have is where they come from. There are three hypotheses, but the most complete and uncommon is that they come from a city on Venezuela called Los Taques. That's why the food is called taqueños. And in, I can say that also is a traditional food of Colombia because this recipe have been moving around all the country, all the continent. I want to say, and in Colombia we can see it in different type of recipe, different kind of recipes of dedos de queso. Some of them don't has eggs or has milk or etc. There's a lot of ways of making dedos de queso that other alternative I read about is about making dedos de queso but with a combination of eggs and flour and pan. In this video, I will show you how to cook this delicious recipe.
Okay, now that I am in my kitchen, I will try to teach you how to make, like I said, this delicious traditional Colombian food. Okay, let's start with the ingredients. Before I start with the ingredients of this recipe, I want to say that this recipe is for approximately between 2 and 3 persons because I'm gonna make like the dos de queso of these sides. So, with these ingredients. So the ingredients are 1/4 of a cup of butter, 1/2 of a cup of flour, 1 egg. I have cold water here. There are 7 or 6 tablespoons of waters. I have oil. I also have gunpowder. We are gonna use 1 tablespoon of gunpowder. I have salt, sugar, and something really nice and really traditional in Colombia that is called quesito. That is like a queso cuajada, and this is the cheese that we are gonna use in this recipe. That is gonna be inside the dedito, the queso. In this recipe, we are gonna use tools as a pan, some bowls like this one, a really nice bowl. I am also gonna use a blender, a hand blender. If you have a normal mechanic blender that is like use it, you can use it. But I have a hand blender, so I am gonna use that one. Also, I am gonna use spoons and something like that, and but the most important thing that we are gonna apply is the hands for the constructing of the form of the dedito de queso. Also, knives, they are so important to cutting the form of the dedito. So let's start. Okay, now we first of all we are gonna add the dry ingredients, such as the 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of gunpowder, 1/2 of a tablespoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. As I said, um, first of all, we're gonna use panela sugar because I think like is more traditional from Colombia. And then we add all the dry ingredients to the bowl. We spirit it in order that we combine all these ingredients, the dry ingredients. Now that all the dry ingredients are already spirited and combined, we already spirited and combined it, and we're gonna add first of all the egg. Something that I don't tell you until is that the base ingredient on making deditos de quesos is the butter. So we had to put a lot of butter. This is like I said, 1/4 of butter until under the ingredients. Now we try to combine it, moving with the spoon, making a kind of mass that we're gonna reinforce later on with some water. Besides, we are like putting together the butter and the flour. We're gonna like making a little mess. You can see it. It's complicated. I said that I would use a blender, but I decided don't because it's easier for me, like making the mess like with the hands and not with a blender. So when you're trying to make this mess, you have to add sometimes water, and this helps in a easier way, like to make the mess we want to have. You can see it. In some times we can also use the hand in order to combine all these ingredients. I am gonna add some more water because it is necessary. Look, it's so important that the water is cold because this makes that the flour tastes better on the with the butter and the other ingredients. And you can see that with a little of water we are kind of making a really nice mess. we can starting to see. So as I was telling you, I don't use the blender because with the hands, like I said before, it's easier to like we're gonna on the 90% of these dedos de queso we're gonna use normally the hands. Look at look at it. Now we have this mass, and we're gonna add the flour that is on the walls of the bowl. We're gonna finally add the final tablespoons of water in order to have the biggest mass we want, because like I said, we want to make approximately in between 7 and 10 with this dedos de queso. Why? Because this is a lot of mass, but we don't have really enough cheese, because we are using quesito cheese that is like a queso cuajada that is commonly made it on departments on Colombia, like Santander and somewhere like that. Okay, sorry for cutting. Is that the person that is helping me with the video in an accident showed my face, so I will continue saying that I was saying. This is the mess that I finally I get from the combination I did of the eggs, the butter, the flour, the sugar, the salt, the gunpowder, and the water. So important the water, because thanks of that we could making these movements, like making a little bit like less stronger, more beautiful this mass. With these movements I make that the mass stays more easily to move. So now that we already amassed my mass, and we have this beautiful thing, I am gonna use, I don't say it, but we need a table. It is so important, because the next step, some persons don't use tables, but some persons doesn't use tables, but and use their tables, but we think that it's better for don't make a lot of mess using a big table. Now we pass our mess into a bigger one, and with a rolling pin. I also forget saying this tool on the tools. With the rolling pin, we flatten the mass. And we try to make the biggest square we could make with this mass. Why a square? Not because the table. It's because when we cut, wait a minute, I finish flattening this mass. After I flatten this and make the biggest mass on this table I could, with this knife, the knife I said, we're gonna cut this mass in a square form, because it's easier when we are making, when we are arming the deditos to moving them and putting them under between the cheese. Wait, because I am going to explain those steps after this. So now we have the mass, um, like a tiny uh, with a tiny size, a plant size like this one. With the knife, like I said, we try to make the best square we could. The mass it less from this square, we can use it for make more deditos de queso. So we left it here in order to make make them again a tiny mass. So we cut it in a kind of perfect square because we are so nice cutting squares. Yes, we are. And now we finish putting the size of this square with the knife. We make lines like this with these sides in order to then with the cheese, when we already cut the cheese, we are gonna put these lines between the cheese like in a round way in order to um, co- cover all the cheese, all our our quesito. That is the name. In the last video, in the last part, making the mass, I was saying that this cheese called quesito is commonly called on Colombia by queso cuajada. Why? I don't know why, but I could say that it's really traditional on Colombia. Um, this is because it's made in commonly in different forms, on all the departments of Colombia, such as Santander, Antioquia, El Pacífico, and this is so important because makes our Colombian deditos de queso more traditional and more nicer because Colombian products are the best. Um, Look, we have 7. With these ones, I said that the recipe was between 7 and 6 persons, but I could make 2 lines of mass more. This mass um, takes me like a little bigger in this side, so I am going to put it in this part, and I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 lines in order to make my deditos de queso. um, Páralo. Okay, so here is my mass, and the mass I left on. I'm going to let it here because later I could make some deditos de queso. So now what we are gonna make is that the quesito cuajada, the quesito marked Alpina. We're gonna reuse this table in order to cut in our tiny pieces our quesito. So it comes in this stand. So first of all, we're gonna cut it. No, we're gonna with a spoon. We're gonna use this spoon to take it off from this space. Also, we have this cheese we could use that is also really nice. But like I said, I first of all I gonna use for some of the queso cuajada because it's like I said the traditional one of the most traditional Colombian cheeses. So I'm gonna cut it like in tiny pieces, not so tiny, like this one, something like this. And with this, we're gonna separate it. We're gonna put it here because with later with these cheeses, I will. Um, this is gonna be on the center of the mass. We're gonna use the mass with the lines of the mass, and for example, with this one, we're gonna. Okay, later I'm gonna explain. Now, and we're gonna continue cutting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5, 6, and we could make 7 and combine it with some of these ones. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. I missed one, but in this case, this cheese is too. There is not enough cheese for another, so I'm gonna use this cheese. I don't know what this is cheese. Oh, this is a little. This is a little nice cheese because this is it's like a queso cuajada, but with more with more cheese. I don't know how to explain it because you don't are here, and as you can see this cheese is like most softy and this is more like stronger, I think, because this cheese is colder than this one because this one was in the refrigerator. Now we're gonna use this one to construct our Dedos de queso. So I'm gonna make only one example, and later I'm gonna make the other ones. So we're gonna get one of these lines of our mat, and on the bottom of the cheese we're gonna make this movement in order to put the mass all over around our quesito. In this part I miss a little, but I think that the recipe says that was 7 persons or 6 because we could take a little piece from this space and make this, like with add in this part, and we continue and we have our first dedito de queso.
Beautiful.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the beautiful results of putting around a mess between our quesito. This this dedito de queso, it's a little bit more smaller, but it's a little fail in the recipe. Okay, until we put on the spoon and I know on the pan already we put oil under fire to warm the oil and fry these deditos de queso. So we um, carefully I put under the oil the deditos one by one, trying that they don't um, disarm, and trying to don't um, trying to don't touch the oil because it's really warm, as you say, as you saw. So that is the oil, and I think this process will take some 15 minutes. Now you can see anything because the bubbles. I think because the bubbles is because the cheese, but that means that it is working. I am really happy because this recipe, I I think that it was not going to result, but it resulted, and I am really happy. Forget it. Now we're gonna wait 15 minutes, and with a knife or a spoon, we're gonna move the deditos on the oil, and for it fries in every part of it. Okay, I changed the pan because the other was too small. But look at this, the my deditos de queso are already really gold, with a really goldy color. In some of them, so with this tool called spin roll, I will use it to take it off the oil. But first of all, with this um, servilleticas, I will use it too, that the oil don't get down uh, to the oil paste under it, and don't affect the deditos. So now I am putting out the oil, the warm oil, the really warm oil, the deditos. Some of them were really close to be bad, but I really like the result, and you can see it here. These are my deditos de queso traditional from Colombia. I am really happy with the result, and I, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 persons can eat from these beautiful deditos. Eat a piece. Eat one. Bye.